pen, and this is a pen. So today, I thought we would discuss the disaster that was FanExpo Chicago this year. Yeah, it was bad. Let's just say that. I'm really disappointed in them. I went last year, and while I can't speak on the accessibility of last year, I wasn't doing anything to mitigate my pain. It was way more fun last year. I had a lot more fun, and it was much better time. This year was so bad, actually. So I guess I'll start with day one. Day one was Friday, which last year, day one was Thursday, and it was like a preview day. And it wasn't a whole day. But this year, they decided to make that Friday. So instead of having a full 3-day con weekend, it was Friday started at 4, and then you only had 2 full days of con. Last year, Thursday was a short day, and then we had a full 3-day con weekend. It was so frustrating. I wish they didn't do that. It was really disappointing because you couldn't really do much. If you didn't have a 3-day badge, you had to wait till 4. I think if you had a 3-day badge, you could get in at maybe like 2 or 3. But even still, I had friends who were only coming on Friday, and we were doing a whole little group, and we only got to do stuff for like an hour or two because my friend group had to leave because we were going to see a show that night. And there was so much more that I wanted to do with the little cosplay group that we had, and I didn't get to because con started so late. They also switched around security. Last year, security was inside the building, and it was not a lot of like, I don't know, like there was never like a huge line, at least when I went, and it was inside the building, which was really nice. So you could go down the skyway, go down the escalator, and then go through security inside the building. This year, security was outside the building, which means they didn't want anyone going through the skyway straight into the convention. They made everyone walk outside, which isn't the biggest deal, but the layout was just weird because then once you got into the con after security, you still had to walk that whole roundabout way where security was last year just to get your badge scanned, which felt like a waste of space. Like they could have just had people posted after security to scan your badge, and then they could have used that space for more con activities. Because a whole another thing about this convention was that it was way too overcrowded. They oversold tickets, and it was so incredibly horrible. Like, so crowded, so overwhelming, so many people. But I'll talk more on that later. So, also, if you needed accessibility security, they didn't check your bag, which was so strange because just because someone's disabled doesn't mean you shouldn't check their bag, right? Weird. I don't know. Whatever. Both me and one of my friends who I went with this year had mobility aids. And when I tell you that the accessibility of this convention was horrendous. Like I said, I can't speak on last year. I don't know what it was like last year, but this year was actually horrible. First day we get there, we walk through the skyway because we didn't realize that security was outside and that there was no point in trying to go through the skyway. But we're walking through and we have our visible mobility aids, and the con staff kept directing us. So we followed what they said, and we get to the end and they just point to the 2 flights of stairs and they go stairs. Mind you, I have a cane, my friend has a walker, and we're like, is there no other way? And they're like, stairs. So that was odd because I know that there's an elevator. So frustrating. So that was our little experience the first day, and it was really frustrating. And then of course, like, we still have to continue and walk around the whole way because even though we have mobility aids, there's like nothing in place for even after, but like you still have to walk the whole direction. Anyways, they also had a line for disabled people at security. Like I said, they didn't check your bag, which was very odd. Then once you get in, you had to go all the way around just to get your badge scanned, which again seemed like an entire waste of space. Seemed so ridiculous because it's just like a roundabout way of going through. Like, there's no security there. You're just like walking through until you get to the end. It's just like a huge waste of space. That same day, I had another disabled friend who came, and they had their crutches, right? And they went to the elevator. Like, they made sure that they went to the elevator, but the staff wouldn't let their handler go with them in the elevator. Like, they didn't want them to go with. And it's so ridiculous because they needed them. Like, if something were to happen in the elevator, or like, you need to have someone with you in case something happens. So it's ridiculous to not let them go. And I think they had to like threaten and like ask for a manager because that's insane. Like, you need a handler. If you need them, you need them. And they shouldn't be telling you that you can't have them with you, you know? Like, anyways. And again, like, it was ridiculous. It was just kind of like insane. So that was the first day. We didn't stay long because we had a show to get to. The next day, we go through the Skyway again, and this time we make sure to go on the elevator, but they don't want to let our friend / handler come with us either. We convinced them to because I think they thought that I was my friend's handler and that my other friend was just like another one of our friends. But I also had a cane. I'm also disabled. So it was like, we managed to like point out like, no, this is both of us. So they let us go. And once we got to the bottom of the elevator, we just ended up out in the con. We didn't go through security or anything again. And they didn't have us go around to get our badge scanned, which was really odd. But I don't know, that's what happened. And we had a photo op that day. And I know for a fact that the photo ops have seats near the front of the lines for disabled people. But we get there with our cane and with our walker, and no one says anything about like, hey, we see you're disabled. Can I see your badge? Does it have the sticker that shows that you are disabled? Okay, come sit up at the front. We'll call you like when you're ready, or like when your friends come through in line, you can join them, you know, because we had friends that weren't disabled. Nothing. So we're just standing there, you know. My friend's walker thankfully has a seat, so she was able to sit down, but I was just standing there. So, you know, yeah, but it was also that day so incredibly crowded. I felt like I was having a panic attack trying to get through the crowds. There were so many people. It was so overwhelming. People weren't doing it on purpose, but they were kicking my cane out from under me, because it was just so crowded, and I'm sure that they didn't realize, but like it tripped me up a lot. And I don't think that's any of their fault. It's just like they oversold tickets this year, and it was like too overwhelming to do anything. So we got our photo op, which is great. We go through Artist Alley a little bit, but again, it was so crowded. Like, we couldn't take, like, the aisles aren't even wide enough for if there are people stopped on either side of the booths. There's no space to go through in between. That's how small the aisles were, which is ridiculous because you can't just have it where once people are stopping to look at the art, there's nowhere else for people to go. That's not a good way to set up your convention. Not only that, especially if you have a mobility aid. especially if it's like a walker or a wheelchair, you can't get through. There's no way. And because there were also so many people, there was no time to stop and look at the art. Like, as you're walking through, you can't even see it because there's just way too many people. Which was, like, so sad because, like, you want to stop and you want to look at the art, and these people are talented, and of course you want to see what they make, and you want to get fan art, and you want to buy stuff. Like, it was just so overwhelming, and we ended up not staying in there for very long. We ended up going out. There's like a little garden area, and we took pictures, and we had a little bit of a nice time, and we like filmed some TikToks, and then we left. And it it was actually insane. And I heard then later that another one of my friends who also is disabled, immediately once they got in, they were like, she was over, like, I think she felt she was faint. So she didn't have like, they had wheelchair rentals, right? So, but all it says on the sign is wheelchair rentals. So once you go up, then they're like, it's $50, which that's kind of insane because if someone needs a wheelchair, they need a wheelchair. So this friend, they got a wheelchair, but apparently the wheelchair etiquette, like people were like not moving out of the way. People were like being rude and like dense about it. Like, if there's someone in a wheelchair trying to get through, you move out of the way, you know? And again, they were also like, it was just so overwhelming. There were too many people. And so she and her partner and their friends left early as well, which I am not surprised. It was crazy. It was so hot. It was so overwhelming. It was so crowded. Also, this is like besides the point, but there were so many people not cosplaying. Like, I felt out of place, which is so weird to say at a convention because there was an insane amount of people that were just like dressed in regular clothing. And that's not how it was last year. Like, I don't know if they advertised differently this year to try and get more people, but it felt like most everyone was dressed normal. Like, not even wearing like a t-shirt of something nerdy. Like, just dressed like cute. Like they were like, I don't know. It was weird. It was weird. There were just like so many people dressed normal, and it was odd. It felt like they forgot who their target audience was at the convention. Just strange, just odd. So that was day 2. Day 3, we also did not stay very long. I had a photo op that I went to, and this time when we went down the elevator, they told us that we had to go around to do the badge scan, which is so ridiculous because, again, we have mobility aids. We can't walk a lot. Like, that's like the whole point, you know? And we were discussing this. This person was, I think, like the convention center staff and not the FanExpo staff. And she was like, I'm just following the rules. I'm really sorry. The rules don't make sense this year. I don't know what's going on. Which felt nice to be acknowledged. But again, we had to go around like the roundabout way. We didn't go through security again, which made no sense. And we really didn't stay long either. It definitely wasn't as crowded. So that was good. But it was still pretty crowded. There was still like not a lot of people in cosplay, which felt weird. We didn't stay long. Again, we took some pictures. I had my photo op, and then we kind of just like wandered Artist Alley a little bit, got some stuff, and then went home. And that was basically it. And it was like not a fun time. I did not enjoy my time this year. If they don't figure out their shit, I am not going to go back because there's more space to the convention center. And they just didn't use it, which was so odd. Oh, and also, okay, as you go through the Skyway, at the end of the Skyway before the elevator, there's a set of stairs and there's a disability ramp. We were going down the disability ramp on the 3rd day. It's not very big. Like, you can only have, especially if you have a wheelchair or a walker, you can't go down while someone else is coming up. And so we're going down, and someone starts coming up who obviously does not need the ramp. And and we're like, what are you doing? Like, this is not okay. And then I saw that it was Rosario Dawson. side-eyeing her forever because she smiled at me and I'm walking there with my cane trying to squeeze past her, and my friend is at the top waiting for them to go through because she has her walker and can't get down if they're going up. Miss, you do not need the ramp. Go up the three little steps. It's literally like 3 stairs. You do not need to go up the ramp when there's obviously a disabled person trying to get down. I don't care if you're a celebrity. Like, don't smile at me. Don't smile at me as you see me with my cane and my friend waiting for me at the top of the stairs, waiting for you to get through. Whatever. Like I said, not the best convention, and if they don't figure their stuff out, I'm not going to be going back next year. And it seems like that's the consensus of a lot of my friends. I also had a friend who posted on their story that he was in line, and as far as that, he mentioned that he's disabled but not visibly disabled, and that he went through the regular security line, and he said that there were people in line who were bad-mouthing and complaining about people who needed accommodations who were disabled. And if that doesn't sum up this entire convention, I don't know what does, because people were inconsiderate, the convention itself was inconsiderate, the staff was inconsiderate, like, I don't know what went through their heads this year, but when they sent out that survey, I told them the most scathing review ever. I was so upset. I'm not going to go back next year if they don't figure stuff out. I think it was a disaster. I think they forgot who their target audience was, and I think that they were trying to get away with not accommodating disabled people, and it was kind of disgusting, and I don't want to go back next year. So, yeah. They also, like, weren't tagging people on their Instagram. Like, when they go to the artist alley, they didn't tag the artist. They're like, look at this amazing art. But then they don't tell you whose art it is. So if you like it, you can't go find it, which is so dumb. And the same thing with, like, the cosplay competition. They were like, congrats to, like, the winners, but then didn't tag the winners. And you're just kind of like, well, now what do we do? Like, so dumb. Like, you have their handles. I know you have their handles, but they just didn't tag them. Anyways, they just, like, people were leaving comments on their Instagram posts about how horrible it was, and we were leaving comments on their Instagram posts about how horrible it was. And I, in my, like, roundup for the days, wrote about how each day was horrible, and then also you can look at those on my Instagram. It's basically everything that I said here. But yeah, I will not be going back. I did get a little bit of art, so that was good. I had a fun time hanging out with my friends. That was good. My photo ops went really well. I'm really happy with them. I met Matthew Lillard and Ella Purnell, and it was really great, and that was fun, and they were really nice. And like, the times that I spent with my friends were great, but yeah, I don't know what else to say. It was just bad. So that's going to be it for today. Let me know if you went to FanExpo Chicago, what was your experience? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, give me your opinions and things down below, and I will see you next time. Mwah!